Okay, 3 things that you need to stop doing in your karate right now, and 1 thing that you need to start doing. The first one is to stop overthinking. What I find a lot of time with my students is that they think too much about what they're doing and it ends up messing them up. Your body's going to naturally find a way to do it, so just let the techniques happen and adjust it as you go. A good way to sort of get around this is to hit pads and punch bags, this kind of stuff, making impact work. I've said this in my videos before, but hitting the bag is going to give you the quickest feedback. So rather than thinking too much about it, you know, am I in the right position? Is this shoulder right? Hit something and your body will tell you whether it's right or wrong. You know, the feedback that you receive through the bag or through the pad is going to teach you very quickly and help you make those adjustments in a quicker time frame. People also overthink about making mistakes. You know, we can make mistakes in training. I always say to my students that the practice, like, you know, in the dojo, this is our training. We can make mistakes here. So don't worry about it. Just give it a try. You know, try the movements, throw the kick, throw the technique, try the kata. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong, but don't overthink it. You know, overthinking is going to block you and it's going to end up causing you problems down the line. The second thing you need to stop doing is going too fast. You need to slow down.
Slow down, Maurice.
A lot of people are over concerned with being faster, and we know that speed kills technique. Let's get the technique right first in a slow, controlled manner, and then we can start speeding the technique up. One thing I often say is that fast but wrong technique is still wrong. You know, it doesn't matter about being fast. It's got to be right first, and then we can add the speed later. And good technique promotes good speed as well, because we obviously are striving for the most efficient, direct path to deliver our techniques in, and that will then bring about speed in the long run. So don't worry about the speed to start with, add that later on. Focus on technique first and then add the speed as you get proficient at the basic fundamental techniques. If you enjoy karate and martial arts based content with tutorials, fitness tips, weight training, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The third thing we need to stop doing is comparing ourselves to other people. Okay, the karate is a journey for yourself. It's a personal endeavor, a personal journey, and everyone is on a different path. You know, people have had different starting points and different strengths and weaknesses and all these kind of things. So it's always good to just compare yourself to how you was yesterday or a year ago or even further back than that. You know, too often people say to me, oh, I'm struggling in the class, and they're comparing themselves to the black belts. You know, the black belts have been doing it for 7, 8, 9 years. How can you possibly be comparing yourself as like maybe a beginner to someone who's been doing it for almost a decade? So always compare yourself to your former self and not against other people. So that was 3 things that we need to stop doing in order to make our karate better. Now, one thing we need to start doing is have a more focused and structured improvement program or system of improvement. So we need to think about what we want to achieve and how we're going to get there. So for example, if we want to improve our kicks, we need to think, what does it look like to get those kicks better? What do we need to do? You know, what are the steps we need to take in order to get those kicks better? I like to compare it to kind of getting in the car and just driving aimlessly. You're never going to get to your destination if you don't have a plan and a structured route. So we need to look at what we want to achieve in our kicks or our katas or our techniques or our fitness or our flexibility, all these kind of things. Work the path backwards and think, how do we achieve that goal? And then build a program from there. And it can be even more specific. So you can just say, I want to get my kicks better, but then what specifically about the kicks do you want to get better? Do you want to get your mobility for your kicks better, faster, more control over the legs? All of these things are going to have slightly different routes to get to there. So make sure you have a structured route and a definite plan that you can see yourself going down and achieving that goal. This could be like a short term, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, and even a year. You know, we can plan these things out and make sure your training is a little bit more focused to the direction we're trying to go. Because often people's training just involves getting in the dojo or in a gym and just kind of doing things, you know, just doing whatever kind of comes to them at that time. But we need to have a structure and we need to think about how we're going to get from point A to point B. If you're interested in getting some martial arts inspired clothing and training gear, check out Art Martial Clothing. I'm going to put a discount code in the description of this video and a link to their website. So check out some of their stuff. They've got some great stuff for training in, shorts, jackets, t-shirts, all this kind of stuff. Good for training and good for casual wear as well. So take a look at them. Okay, so if there's any you'd like to add to that list of things that you should stop doing or things you should start doing in your karate journey, add them to the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already, and I'll see you in the next one.